DIY Dad here. Right, we're back to our 700 quid car. Now, I looked through the service history and I found that the cam belt was at 91,000 and it's now on 146,000. So it's coming up for that, but we're going to ignore that. Then I looked at the engine oil last time it was changed. The last time I can find is 117,000 it was changed. So really we're about between 25 and 30,000 miles over the oil change. So even though I'm only keeping it for 2 months, I can't leave that. That's severe level lack of servicing that. So the oil's like glue, and it's just about to get freezing. And then I've got a starter motor that's done 146,000 miles, so that's probably a bit weak. So when it gets cold, it's going to be like turning glue over. So that's all a bit severe for me. So I'm just going to sneak underneath, change the oil and the filter, and the oil filter, as usual, is quite inaccessible. That's normal. So we're going to do that, and then we'll at least it'll start when it gets cold. Right. So let's get on with it. Right. I don't have the right square socket for this sump plug, so I've gone a bit redneck, and I've hammered an Allen key socket into it to see if that'll undo it. I'm not going to buy another tool to undo this, so let's see if this undoes. We shall see. Just got my bucket at the ready, so let's see if it undoes, shall we? No, it won't. Right, let's try something else. Right, I failed with hammering something into a hexagonal thing into the square plug socket. So anybody that watches Vice Grip Garage, fantastic program, very funny, knows that the best tool ever invented is the Vice Grip. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the Vice Grip on this, try and get it off that way. I do not recommend you do this on a car that you actually like. This car cost 700 quid and I'm only keeping it for a couple of months, so just don't do anything that I'm doing here, basically. Because this. So, sump plugs have got a habit of hermetically sealing themselves to the, into the pan, especially if it hasn't been off for this amount of time. So, here we go, Vice Grip, best tool in the world. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go, it's gone. Fantastic. You see, you do not need the proper tools for the job. All you need to do, a bit of sideways thinking. I've routed through my toolbox, and then I've just gone, yeah, that'll do. And also, I haven't got any jack stands because I've got rid of everything because we're trying to leave the UK. So I've jacked it up a long way, and I've put a block of wood. You can see it just here, behind my finger there. I've got a block of wood under the wheel, so if my ancient jack fails, then it'll just go on the block of wood and I won't get squashed. So again, sideways thinking, don't do it. It's just safety and all that. Safety first. So you don't have to spend money on, jack stands and things like that. But I don't recommend it either. I really don't recommend it. So whatever you're going to do, just be safe. Look what you're doing. Be careful. Mind your knuckles, because you always hurt your knuckles. That's just how it is. So there we go. I've got a bucket here. This is where I'm going to get covered in oil anyway. Let's try and get the least covered possible, which is always a challenge. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, the oil is black as my soul. So yeah, that's severe level. I mean, it's still got viscosity in it. It's still oily, but it feels like glue. It really does. It's not good. So let's put that there. Yeah, no bits of metal in it, no chunks or anything, so that's good. So there we go, that's the oil out. We'll let that drain for a bit. I'm going to scoot right out and under, try and get this oil filter off. Right, that oil's pretty much drained. I'm going to put the sump plug back in. It's got a thing called a Doughty washer on it, which is a washer with a rubber sort of a rubber inside to it. This is used in hydraulics and all kinds of things. So we'll put that back in. That's drained nicely. And then we'll do that back up with our vice grips. Like I said, don't do that. Just pretend you're not seeing half of what I'm doing here and you'll all be fine. Right, so yeah, we'll have a look at that in a minute. It's yeah, it's what you would describe as environmental disaster. So let's use our correct tool again. Do this up. That should do that. Right, and the next thing I've got to do is get right underneath and try and get this oil filter off, which is really, really, really inaccessible. And that is, you cannot see it from the top at all. You've got this radiator hose in the way here. You can just stick your arm up and see it there. So, I'll show you where it is. It's just, it's not good. You can see it's right up there. I'm going to have to get my hand up there somehow and undo that. Brilliant. Good design, Nissan. Cheers. Thank you for that. So let's see. Now, as soon as I undo it as well, it's actually upside down. So as soon as I undo it, it's going to empty itself all into my face. So again, thank you for that. Let's see if I can get my arm in. Oh, but I can undo it by hand, so that's good. So let's get a bucket back. So there's no need for a claw or anything. I've got my claw at the ready, but yeah, we're not going to need it by the look of it. What's going to happen is it's going to just drain itself over everything. There we go. That's Mr. Bucket. What a surprise. Oh, it's only semi-ecological disaster here. Oh, there we go. Right. So, there's our oil filter. That's out. It's only a little thing. Well, that's not as bad as I expected. Right, so here's the new filter. Just check it's the same as the old filter. Great, drip on the head. Yeah, pretty much. Now, when putting a new filter in, get some oil off the old filter, or use new oil. Just put that round the seal. Make sure the old seal has come off so you don't double seal it and cause a leak. Put some oil around the rubber seal on the oil filter, just so you know that it's not going to stick and seal itself onto the metal. And then, hopefully, I've had cars where the oil filter's like here. And it's like, yeah, I can undo that. This is a complete pain in the ass, and my van's a pain in the ass. So, just then, chuck your arm up and again, in an inaccessible place. Sometimes you should fill the oil filter with oil, but this one's upside down, so I don't think we'll be able to do that. So, we'll not bother with that. And then you have to spend 7 hours trying to get the thread to go on because it's a silly angle. There we go. Screw it on. And then oil filters, you should do them up just hand tight. That's all you need is hand tight. You'll know if it leaks because it'll be pouring out. There we go. Right. So that's the filter done. My arm is absolutely covered in oil because of the stupid location of this filter. So we'll clean that off, and you see it's got some on my head. So we'll clean that off as well. So this is what happens to me normally when you're doing things crawling around on the floor. You just end up covered in oil, and this is how I spent half of my life, fixing forestry machines like this in the pissing rain. So this is actually child's play, really. This is easy. So there we go. That's the oil dropped, and that's the filter changed. All I'm going to do now is have a quick clean up underneath to stop any oil dripping that I've already spilt. So then when I fill it with oil and check it to see if it's leaking, I'm not going to go, oh, it's leaking, and it's the old stuff falling around. So I'm just, it's just dripped on my hair. Right, so we'll have a bit of a clean up, and then we'll go and fill it up with fresh oil. Right, we're back on the vertical again. Now, this is the oil. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, I'm going to be honest, but it's not good. So it's been worth doing. Right, so all we need to do now is to pour the majority of this oil in. And I know the capacity of this thing is 4.5 litres. So let's take the top off, like so. Now we'll try not to spill most of it when we put it in. Cap off. Now, looking at the underside of the cap is actually a good indication of what condition the engine's in. Now, I'm not worried because that's jet black. If it was milky, you know, or mayonnaisey, that could be a sign that there's water in the engine, so it could be a head gasket failure. Or some of them have sort of radiator coolers which can fail, and that puts water into the engine. But that, to me, yeah, bang on, that's fine. I can even see down here, August 2021, so something has been replaced in a full service in that year, which I did see in the paperwork. So, maybe not as bad as I thought, but I'm pretty sure that this engine oil it's at least 2 oil changes top over, so it's, yeah. If anybody else ever gets this car, then that's fine. That's fine. So, let's try not to pour most of it in. So this is actually 5 litres. Now, a lot of engine oil now has gone down to 4.5 litres, and I need 4.5, so it gives me half a litre. So, yeah, we'll pour it in, then we'll start it so it fills the oil filter, even though that's not very big, and then we'll see where we get to. Let's see if we can completely miss and pour most of it before the engine. There we go. There we go. Oh, not terrible. Not terrible splitter. Yes. Not too bad. I do have experience of pouring things without funnels. I do it quite often. I've done it all my life. So it's just that first little bit you've got to estimate where it's going to drop. And after that, it's all about controlling it. So we're looking good. We're looking good so far. And what I'm probably going to do is estimate about 4 litres, because there's always a little bit left in, and we don't want to overfill it. Overfilling is nearly as bad as underfilling. So let's stop there. Well, that was terrible estimating. We've got 3 litres in there, so we're miles off. So now it's easier to do it without missing. Oh, still did it. Ugh, typical. So as I said, I wasn't going to do anything to this car, but then I was sat in the supermarket car park waiting for the other half to do some shopping, and said, oh, let's read the paperwork. I should have just not bothered and should have just pretended I didn't see any of it. But though I am, I just have to. I just got to look. So there we go. Let's do another half litre. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. So on. Just going to quickly check underneath to make sure we're not pouring out the bottom, because that does happen. No, we're all good. So what I'm going to do now is start it. Where's the keys? What have I done with the keys? No, they're not in ignition. Leave the keys out of the ignition if you're going to do this, because you don't know if somebody else is going to come along and start the car. And that's a good way to lose fingers and all kinds of things, so we'll make sure the keys are out. God, look at me offering safety advice here, when quite often I'm not very safe. Never mind. Right. There they are. There's the keys. Right, so let's go and start the car, and then we'll check the oil level and see where we're at. Right, so that actually sounds a lot smoother already. Now, it did come up with oil good on the dashboard, so that's fantastic. But then again, it's coming up with oil good with the old oil, so I don't believe anything that dashboard says. So again, just start the car, have a look. Is anything falling out, falling off? Is the oil spraying in any directions? Have a look underneath, I'll quickly do that. Yeah, nothing's leaking. It sounds a lot smoother now. It always does after oil change for some reason. My van's the same. Every car I've ever owned has sounded much better after oil change. And to be honest, it was a bit lumpy, and then, to be honest, it couldn't have sounded worse. Well, this is fantastic. Alright, I'm going to go and switch it off. I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes for the oil to drop down, and then we'll check the level and top it up. Right, we've had a bit of a tidy up now. So let's check this oil, and then we'll see what we have to do. Now, I don't know why, but they seem to make it almost impossible to tell mostly on some of these cars if there's oil in it or not, because it's just the colour of the dipstick is like beige. The same on that other half, say exactly the same. Plastic dipstick, beige colour, so when you've got new oil in it you can't see what colour it is. And I have no idea why they do that. When it's black, it's actually easier to see. The one on my van is a proper metal dipstick, a proper dipstick, and I can read that. So, let's see what we've got here. It's still gone a little bit black because there's obviously some oil left in it, but we're about halfway again, so that's pretty much where we were when we started. So if you looked at that, it looks like I've achieved nothing at all. So what I'm going to do is add about another half a litre in, call that good, and that's it. That's basically how you change your oil. Don't do anything I've done, be safer, and you know, you don't need a degree in motor mechanics to change oil in the car, definitely not. I'm on one of the old VWT4 forums. There's a person on there that I posted a reply to this because it was just shocking. There's a garage, took a car to a garage because there'd been a problem with, there'd been a major engine fault. Something had broken in the engine. I don't know what it was. I think it was cam belt had gone or something, and they left it with his garage. And the garage phoned up about a week later and said, "Oh, we don't know how to do this because we don't understand old engines." Well, then what? A garage that doesn't understand engines. Words actually fail me. You know, anybody can understand what an engine does, especially old ones, because they're easier. So there's a lot of garages now that all they do is they just plug stuff in, and they say, "Plug it in." "Oh, if I can't plug it in, I don't know how it works." How can you work on a car when you don't know how an engine works? It just really, really worries me. So then they sent it off to another guy to do it, and then it was just a comedy of errors. As you know, she'd supplied them another engine to put in it, and in that time they broke half the bumper off and damaged a load of other stuff, and half took the engine out, left the new engine out completely open to the elements, so that left it out there, and it's something like 18 months, and it's still not fixed. So they've been completely ripped off, and that's not fair. That really isn't fair. So I would urge anybody, if you've got any inkling of what you're doing, just do it yourself. You do not need a degree in motor mechanics. Engines like this, they're easy to work on. You don't even need many tools. I've basically done this oil change with a vice grip. That's basically all I've used. So there we go. That's how you change an oil in a Nissan Note incorrectly.